mama strength.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of this video? Bill Mack here with another edition of Pro Wrestling Unleashed. Glad you folks could join me. Thanks for clicking on my video here. I'm giving you the results for just now ending No Mercy pay-per-view, all exclusively on basically the WWE Network for $9.99, and also on some very few pay-per-view places that carriers that still offer WWE pay-per-views. Anyway, a lot of surprises. I thought it was a really good overall pay-per-view, and it being a Raw one, which is a surprise. We all know how Raw pay-per-views are, but I thought really this was a good one. So thanks for joining me, and I'm going to give you my opinions and results on what happened, just in case you didn't miss it, or just to recap for you folks. So let's just get right into the results here. We had the kickoff show. This was one I didn't have in my predictions show because it wasn't released until later on after I'd already released the video and put it up, and which happens a lot of times. They'll just throw a match together. This was one of those. They had Elias taking on Apollo Crews. These guys have not feuded. I've not seen anything why they would even do this. I know Elias wasn't on the last pay-per-view. Maybe they tried to make it up, put him in on the kickoff show, which I thought was a bad idea because I would have liked to seen Elias on during the main card. Anyway, Elias ends up basically hitting the drift away after Apollo Crews misses off the top rope. Thought it was a pretty good match. Apollo Crews showing his athleticism. Really doesn't carry him far because the man has zero personality. Zero personality when it comes to it. You got to have charisma. You got to have personality. The man's always smiling. Even if he was to play a heel, he'd still be smiling. So when you can have all the athletic ability in the world, but if you don't have a character or you don't have that certain charisma to get yourself over, the fans aren't going to care about you if it doesn't stick out. So that's what we see with Apollo Crews. Athletic, yes. Over? No, not by a long shot. He's been here for well over since they had the first time they had the brand split. So he's just still not doing anything, even on Raw. So let's get right to the main card. This was the main card after the kickoff show. That was the only match during the kickoff show. To begin the show, we had The Miz taking on Jason Jordan for the Intercontinental title. Of course, The Miz Taraj was out there. I thought this was a good match between both guys. Jason Jordan, of course, has shown time and time again that he does have the athleticism in his wrestling moves. He's like, I thought it was he's still displaying those. He's still trying to work to get a good match put on. I thought it was really good. The Miz, of course, using his tactics. The fans were really, again, they were for Miz. They were against Jason Jordan. He still tried to manage to get through it and still persevere, because it's hard when you're trying to get over and the fans really aren't giving you that treatment that you were hoping to get anyway. But as we see, as Jason Jordan goes for the pin on The Miz, we see that I think it was Bo Dallas that tried to get up on the ring, and then Jason Jordan got rid of him and knocked him down. The referee's trying to push him out the way. As Jason Jordan goes against the ropes to catch the ropes, we see Curtis Axel end up hitting him, which he walks right into the skull-crushing finale, hit by The Miz. So 1, 2, 3, and still your Intercontinental title. And I think I called this one. I think I called this one correctly. I think I had The Miz retaining against Jason Jordan. Jason's gonna get his shot. Just still a little bit too early for him. Let's see him have some more singles matches at mid-card level and see how that works out. Let him get a few wins, build that credentials up, then go after the title. Up next, we had a match you've been wanting to see. We had Finn Balor taking on Bray Wyatt. Remember, it was the Demon versus the Eater of Words. Bray turned it around, said, you weren't, you were the Demon, you weren't Finn Balor. I want you to challenge me as Finn Balor. So right as Finn Balor goes out, Bray attacks him. And even before the bell has time to ring, we see basically, he starts to going up the ramp. There's about 4 referees, and Finn's holding his ribs, and he doesn't like he's able to compete. Bray gets on the mic, calls him a coward, this, that, and the other. And basically we see this makes Finn mad. Finn goes back down. He battles through the whole matchup with even though his ribs hurt. he ends up basically, and I thought this was a good match. You know, at one point we saw Finn Balor going up for the coup de grace. We seen Bray do his spider gimmick when he's upside down, and it kind of freezes Finn. So the ending comes when after two of those double kicks into the ring, we see a coup de grace on Bray to get the win. Finn Balor wins, and of course I know I called this one right too. Finn defeats Bray Wyatt. Up next, we have the Raw Tag Team title matchup between Sheamus and Cesaro taking on Dean and Seth. They were still harping on the fact that they're closer, like brothers, than Dean and Seth are. They were still trying. They're still dropping inklings of that about some potential turn heel, probably by Dean, is somewhere down the road. But they keep bringing that inkling of that in during their promo work. This was a good physical matchup. At one point, Cesaro goes to do a splash into the ropes. He goes too high. When he does, he lands on the post. When he does, his hand doesn't catch it this time. He ends up knocking two of his teeth in the front. You can see him when he lands down and he feels it holds his mouth, and you can see the blood. And he fights the rest of the match. You can see the blood in his mouth. The referee even had to get gloves on, keep check to make sure it wouldn't get too bad. But he spent most of the matchup basically in with those teeth out. They did this cool spot, and with Cesaro and Sheamus did, where Cesaro had I think it was Dean on the top, and he was getting ready to hit him with that when he grabs him by the arm and power slams him down. He was going to hit that, and then we see Sheamus basically he goes with the white noise, hits the white noise on Rollins. Sheamus power bombs Dean onto Seth. Now I thought this was like, oh, they must gonna be getting the titles back, because that's kind of an ending move. I mean, imagine up until now, folks, this was a brutal match. This wasn't something that happened in the beginning. This was like later on down near the end of the match. But they managed to kick out. Fans got a "This is awesome" chant, which it really was BS to me, because that kind of move is a move that you end it with. I mean, when you do one pile on top of the other, hey, that's just it. But it wasn't the end of it. We see Sheamus goes to get the bro kick. He accidentally hits Cesaro. Cesaro goes flying out the ring. Seth gets in. He ends up hitting the running knee on Sheamus, and he falls into the dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. Dean and Seth are still your Raw Tag Team Champions. And I thought it was BS, folks. I liked the ending to it. I didn't like the fact that after all they did, basically you saw them kick up out of that, and all it takes is that running in dirty deeds, and that's the end of it. So I thought that was bogus. My bogus moment of the night. So we go down next, to the Raw Women's Championship match. This is between Alexa Bliss taking on Sasha Banks, Bayley, Emma, and Nia Jax. All of them showed pretty good. They all had their time to shine during the match. And Nia was just too powerful. At one point, she had Nia Jax, and I think it was Alexa Bliss on her shoulders, and does the Samoan drop on them. I mean, it was awesome. And just Alexa was in no mood for her whatsoever. She was just in no mood to try to even attempt to go after Nia. She tried to take her advantage when she could, and Nia was just strong through the whole matchup. But we see Alexa hits the DDT, gets the win. I'm saying DDT. I won't say it was Bayley, but it could have been Sasha that got the DDT. It just went so fast I didn't get to see it, but I think it was. But Alexa ends up getting the DDT after many different near pinfalls, and Alexa retains. And I think I had Nia winning. So, but I knew that there was a good chance that Alexa was going to retain it, but I had Nia winning it just in case they decide to go in that direction. So up next we have one of the two big events tonight. John Cena taking on Roman Reigns. It went back into their feud of both being the big dogs of the company. John Cena being the past, Roman Reigns being the big dog of the present. It was a really good matchup. They were physical with each other. There was Superman punches. There was spears. There was attitude adjustments thrown, double attitude adjustment. Um, a super one off the top. A lot of going on. These guys were physical with each other. They pulled out their very limited arsenals that they had. I thought they give all they could with considering the crappy wrestling that they do. And the fans were really into it. They were about more behind Cena, and they were booing Reigns, which Reigns, had that cocky look on his face. I thought it was decent for what they could do. And you won't hear me really comment too much on a Cena Reigns match, but I think they did what they could do. Reigns ends up hitting a Superman punch, goes into the ropes, hits the spear. 1, 2, 3. John Cena gets pinned. They go up and hold each other's hands up. And I know that John's telling Roman something. And then Roman leaves and leaves Cena in the ring. And Cena's kind of like reflecting like he does every time before he goes off to do a shoot. Like I say, he's going to do the Bumblebee movie now. He'll be off of TV for a while. He kind of gave his salute at the end of it and all. But I thought it was decent for their kind of match. You really can't give an average match to them, but it was decent. So Roman Reigns, though, ends up getting the win, which I know I predicted that one was going to happen. Up next, we had a cruiserweight matchup with Neville and Enzo, and this was not really it was kind of a surprise. Neville, of course, worked the matchup. Enzo was kind of the dummy doll that was getting the match moves done on him. I know at one point Neville attempted to do the red arrow, and then the crowd got cheering, and then he got down, which he had to troll the crowd, of course. I thought was pretty cool whenever he does that. Get the crowd riled up and then let him down. Enzo ends up growing outside, and he while he's on the outside, he picks up the cruiserweight belt, brings it in. He threatens to hit Neville with it. The referee tells him to let him hold the belt. So when the referee's taking the belt from from Enzo, and he goes to put it on the outside, Enzo ends up kicking Neville between the legs. Neville goes down. Enzo goes and rolls him up over and rolls him up for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Referee doesn't see it. Your new champion, Enzo Amore, ends up being the cruiserweight champion. Low ball tactics, and I think I'm pretty sure the prediction video I picked Enzo to win by surprise, just because it might have been something underhanded, which is what he's been doing since the last few weeks, since he's got on 205 Live and doing a lot of underhanded things. So Enzo ends up becoming the new champion. So he's one of the first ones to really gain and win the championship matchup. And last but not least, we come into to the very main event. This is what we've been waiting to see for a while. This match lasted longer than the Goldberg-Brock match, just to let you folks know that. That's a thumbs up that happened. Braun was very brutal. He manhandled Brock early on in the matchup, through most of the match with power slams, throwing him off of him, getting up, choke slamming him hard. I mean, he was throwing Brock around and everything. The turning point of the match happened whenever he got into the corner and Brock locked that move on him with his shoulder. The one that you remember he broke Triple H's arm with twice doing that move? He locked that move, and he wore down Braun, and that was the turning point, because after that, it was harder for Braun, because then Brock, of course, hit a few suplexes on him, and because Brock was tired. Brock ain't used to really chugging. He's not going to give you no more than a 10-minute matchup, if that. So Brock then, the tie turns, there's a couple power slams that we see Braun try to hit, and he can't pin Brock, which we saw that really affect that shoulder affected him. So Brock ends up hitting one F5 and then pins him and wins. Just one. I mean, Braun hit like 2 or 3 of those power slams and didn't beat Brock. But Brock hits one F5 like he did on Goldberg, which I said would more likely happen. Everybody on the planet wanted to see Braun win it. But of course, Brock gets one F5 and he gets the champion, and he retains the championship. So I thought the match was good, though, for what it was, considering who it was, like I said, with Cena and Reigns. But I thought it was a decent matchup. Can't really complain too much about it. And I thought, like I said, overall, I'll give it a B probably. I'll give it a low B for it, because, like I said, a lot of stuff I basically predicted. With the matchup outside the Elias being on the kickoff show, it is what it is. But I hope you folks have enjoyed my video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe to my channel, share my video with others, and if they are, subscribe as well. I do appreciate all that. I'm trying to get my subscribers up and put out different content. So thank you once again for joining me. This is, like I said, this is Bill Mack with Pro Wrestling Unleashed. This is the No Mercy recap. And until next time, take it easy.